Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another installment of the Now Review. A very interesting themed Now album, one that I didn't see coming, but one I actually think is a very good idea indeed. Introducing the latest spin-off release, Now, that's what I call 12-inch 80s. So I feel I need to do a quick bit of context for anyone who doesn't know. A 12-inch single is referencing the size of the vinyl record they originally came on. LP records were typically 12 inches in diameter, and singles, for the most part, from the 1950s till the late 70s, were 7-inch in diameter, so vinyl singles. However, during the disco age, extended mixes, dance mixes, remixes became a lot more popular, and thus the 12-inch single was born, a disc that was the same size as an album, but would only contain 1 or 2 tracks and have various remixes, and that concept evolved throughout the 1980s and 90s as well to include different things. So it's really nice to see the format of 12-inch singles get some recognition here, and I'll be really curious to see what's on it. But looking at the cover first and foremost, I love the colours they've gone for here. You know, blues and purples and pinks. There's a little like grid reference, if you can see there at the bottom where the logo's sitting on. It feels very much that 80s, like, you know, techno vibe, the electronic vibe. It was all about synthesizers and house was coming in. The 80s was honestly, I'd argue, one of the perfect eras for the format of the 12-inch album. And just to see who we've to expect on here, you've got artists like New Order, Duran Duran, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Dead or Alive, Yellow, Aha, Irene Cara, Whitney Houston, Lionel Richie, Ray Parker Jr., Sister Sledge, Billy Joel, The Specials, Nina, Visage, Ultravox, Tears for Fears, and Queen. So that's a pretty stellar lineup already, so I think we need to twizzle this on round and see just what we have on this here track list. Okay, so here's looking at CDs 1 and 2. CD 1 first, you got a Radio Gaga mix there, that's cool. Duran Duran with the Reflex, Frankie Goes to Hollywood with Two Tribes. I would have maybe put Relax on there, but the Two Tribes mix is pretty good too. Dead or Alive with You Spin Me Right Round, excellent. Don't Leave Me This Way by the Communards, wonderful song. Loving The First Degree by Bananarama, one of their best hits in my opinion. And just over on CD 2, you've got a New Order with Blue Monday, which is a cracking song. Visage with Fade to Grey, which is a beautiful song from the early part of the decade. Howard Jones with New Song. Aha with The Sun Always Shines on TV, which is one of my favourite songs of all time. I'm glad the extended mix is on here. Tears for Fears with Shout, one of their biggest hits. You've got Can Can with I Beg Your Pardon on there, and then going back to disc 1, you've got Lamar with Never Ending Story. You've got Phil Oakley and Giorgio Moroder together in Electric Dreams, wonderful song. Soft Cell on there. Not Tainted Love. Heaven 17 with Temptation. Nina with 99 Red Balloons. Of course, that was a big song of its day, wasn't it? Jumping back on over, you have Men Without Hats, The Safety Dance, Scritti Politti, you've got Ultravox on here. So many good songs. And to finish disc 1, you have The Specials with Ghost Town, another great song. And finishing disc 2 is Yellow with The Race. Now, Yellow is famous for that song. The name escapes it. It's that one that goes, oh yeah, that one. And The Race was actually a pretty decent hit here in the UK. I don't think it did too well in the US, but over here it did well. And there's 12 tracks on CD 1 and 11 tracks on CD 2, so that takes our initial total to 23. Kicking on over to CDs 3 and 4, you've got Irene Cara with Flashdance, one of the key dance songs of the decade. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, one of her biggest hits. Sister Sledge are on here. Just skimming through. Look at these songs. Take a minute and just look at some of these songs. Incredible. Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It? All bear in mind these, extended mixes or, remixes, because a lot of these songs originally were like 3 or 4 minutes. Now they're like 6, 7, 8 minutes long. You're really getting the length out of this. Let's hear it for The Boy, I've just noticed on CD4. Ghostbusters. You got You Came by Kim Wilde. That's another cracking song. I think they picked very well with this track list, They did some cracking choices. And to finish CD3, you've got All Night Long, All Night by Lionel Richie, of course, extended. And finishing CD4, you've got Mike Oldfield with Moonlight Shadow, which was one of the earlier hits of the decade. So CD3 has 11 tracks, and CD4 has 13 tracks. So combine that with the 23 from the first two, that takes our total to 47. So yeah, 47 tracks on there, and I know a lot might be thinking, whoa, hang on, the last few albums we've had have been like 80 tracks plus. As I said, these are the 12-inch mixes, so they're longer inherently, and obviously with limited CD space, you're going to get less songs, but I do think the tracks have been chosen very well. When you open this here album up, oh look, also available, 2 albums we have covered on the Now Review, Now Decades of Love and Now Glam Pop 70s. Be sure to check those reviews out if you haven't already. And you can follow them on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, but not Snapchat because Snapchat's dead. And look at this, here's the discs. Oh, so they're carrying on the style on the front, sort of with the lines mixed with colours. So that one's like blue and pink. This one is a sort of lighter pink with a lighter blue. That one's lighter blue with the pink, and that one's pink with the purple. That just sounds really weird saying it. So they're in this slipcase style, which I know people have been complaining about recently because a lot of the albums have been doing this. But again, in terms of cost, I'd argue this is more also environmentally friendly than the old, like, you know, fat box style they used to do, which use a lot of plastic. Not that this doesn't use plastic as well, but I'd argue this is, if they're going to do CD still, this is the more environmentally friendly way to do it. So, with that in mind then, is this album worth your time? Well, I think first of all, it is worth saying, you know, if you don't like 80s music full stop, then this is one you should pass on. If you want to hear some great 80s classics in a longer version, extended versions, different mixes, you will absolutely adore this album. As I said, I was very excited about this coming out, just that the theming of it is so new to Now. They haven't done like Now Dance technically you could argue was a forerunner back to this in the 80s because that just took songs and put the extended mixes on there. This is like a true spiritual reimagining of Now Dance but branded on 12-inch 80s. I love it. I think there are some tracks I would love on there. I mean, partly because I'm a fan, but to hear, like, say, the extended version of some songs by the Pet Shop Boys, like, in particular, What Have I Done to Deserve This would have been great here. But ultimately, the 47 tracks selected, I think, offer you a good gamut of just the kind of songs that were coming out in the 80s pop scene and their extended versions. A lot of them, you can't, well, I think some of them you can, but some of them you can't find even on, like, the streaming sites these days. You have to turn to YouTube or even the original vinyl releases. So to have an album like this is good, and if anything, I hope they continue this in the future. I'd love to see 12-inch 90s, or even 12-inch noughties, or like the 70s where it started. I would love more releases in the 12-inch range. In terms of where you can get it, it's all the usual supermarkets like Tesco, for example. I got my copy from HMV. It's $9.99, so it's a good like budget price as well. I love the fact that they're coming out £10 now rather than a bit more expensive. So, or you can get it, you know, from places like Amazon or HMV online. You can get this pretty easily. So let me know in the comments, because that's all for this Now review. Let me know in those comments, are you going to pick up Now 12-inch 80s? Is it one you're going to pass on? Is there any particular favourite tracks on here? Anything you're after specifically? Just let me know, and leave a like on this video as well if you enjoyed it. It really helps the channel out, and please do subscribe to the channel. And until the next one, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, Tobos Krotz, and Polsky Liz, our AMTV staff members.